All right. Hello, everybody. This is Todd from the Table Ready Podcast. And tonight we're here with you again for another episode of Table Ready Painting. We are going to be doing just a slight variation from the Combat Patrol to Crusades, very slightly, and only because I had a very interesting experience. I got a chance to go up to Green Dice Games again, and when I did, they actually have what they call the mech shop, and at the mech shop, you can actually just go through bins of used stuff and I picked up one of my buddies, and my two boys went, and we kind of just perused the whole thing. I actually had a ton of stuff in my hands, and when it came to actually buying stuff, my older one, Logan, he saw this box, and I'm gonna bring it out here in just a second. But he saw this box, and he's like, you know, you should really get that. That would be really cool. It's a heck of a deal. And even my friend that was with me, he said the same thing. He's like, that's a heck of a deal. And then Logan, the way Logan is, did the math things, and he's like, you're getting almost $400 worth of models in $200 of a used box. And being the skeptical that I am, of course, I trusted his math because that's what he does. But what I really wanted to go after was, I was really concerned that everything was in the box. So what I actually got was, let me see if I can find a spot where it sits. I got the Valourstrike box, Valourstrike Lance. Sorry, Valourstrike Lance. I could probably put it down here too. Valourstrike Lance. Okay, so what I did do, I brought it home, and of course, of all things, I'm like, well, I didn't really necessarily need knights, but you know, I mean, an opportunity like that only comes around every so often, and I thought, what the heck, let's give it a shot. So I did pick up the box. I just wanted to do a quick peruse over it, just so that if there was something missing, I wouldn't be upset when I put it on video. And of course, I'm going to tell you one thing lead to another, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. Um, so, first off, the directions are there. This box set is made to make four sets of the armigers, no matter what kind they are. So you do get all the pieces for, you could equip them as four warglaves, four helverins, or any combination there. And you also get one knight paladin or knight errant. Sorry, I should hold that sideways. Um, Knight paladin or knight errant. So positive thing is you do get both the thermal cannon and the rapid fire battle cannon. You do only get the um, chain sword whip arm for the other side, though. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. What I really wanted to do was I'm just going to go through all the sprues in here because there's a lot, and there's a lot going on. Um, so, of course, this is going to be the main guy for the armiger. Obviously, you can see the shell there, and you got lots of all the mechanical working bits that are involved. Um, the neck pieces, and then if you flip over, you do have a couple head options here. Just a single eyeball head, the kind of angry face, angry robot face there. Um, and that looks pretty cool. You also get the melta guns and the heavy stubber. So everything, all the base upper body stuff. I guess the legs are there too. So I guess the base of the armiger is here. And then you do get a sprue just for the warglaive, which would be the shoulder pads are different, the uh, thigh coverings, and then of course the little boot armors. I'm going to call them boot armors because that's what I would use. That's what I would call them. And then of course there's two extra heads here. There's the super angry face, and I'll bring that up there. Well, I guess it's just not going to focus either way. So we'll keep it low. The really angry face, and then the bug eye version there. Um, so that's pretty cool. And then, where's my other one go? And then the autocannon variant. And of course, there's two different heads here, two different shoulders, two different thigh plates, two different boots. So everything's there. Everything's very usable. And of course, 3 sets of sprues, and you get 4 of those, one, for each one. So you're not stuck with just 2 Helverins and 2 Warglaves. You can actually make all the different variations therein. Um, so, and of course, just because I'm me, um, I had to get my fingers into it, and I actually started building one of them, and they're nice size, not too big. If you haven't seen one on the tabletop, versus this angle, it looks pretty small. But that's it. That's what it looks like. Put together. Obviously, like I said, I didn't put any options on there. I am going to start with just the Warglaves first. Um, Interesting. So I'm going to start with Warglaves first, and then I'm going to decide after that whether I'm going to do Hoverins or just all Warglaves. I think as a testing ground, I'm just going to do 2 of each, and then we won't have a problem. So anybody that knows me does know that I do have a knight already, and um, I have it as a Crusader, and I actually have it painted in Boba Fett color. So it's that green with the yellow shoulders, um, and then um, missile pack on the back, rapid fire battle cannon, because that would be the choice that I would take, um, just because I've always been a fan. And I also magnetize the other arm, so I could have the Gatling cannon, or I can do the fist or the chainsword, the knight chainsword. So, um, what I'm thinking of, and of course, here's the sprues for the knight itself. If you're watching, if not, just bear with me. Everything is intact in all the kit, uh, and of course, those are 3 big sprues for that box set as it stands. Love them big shoulder pads. Um, so it's very Space Marine esque with the shoulder pads and stuff like that. It definitely cries that 40K response. And of course, I use the T visor night helmet for Boba Fett. Um, so that looks really cool. They do give you a bunch of head options, so you do have all the basic night sprues in the box. And I know this kit's a little bit old. Well, I guess it's not that old. It actually came out for this box set came out in at Christmas time. This was one of the Christmas boxes. So, of course, the box was like $330 if I remember correctly. I didn't actually look it up. I probably should have, just to make a point of reference, but you know, so be it. Um, and of course, you can get the water slides to go with that, and all those cool night variant options. Um, so with that being said, I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make sure when I do this model in itself, I really want to go further with the magnetizing. I think I'm going to magnetize the helmet. I'm definitely going to magnetize both the arms, and the main reason for that is even though I've got the Crusader set up already, and I can already swap out weapons and stuff like that. I think what I'm going to do for this one is I'm actually going to um, make it totally inclusive, because this way I have the chance to play Canis Rex if I want to, if I give them the different options. If I magnetize the faceplate, magnetize both the arms, I think that'll work great. And then I think I'm gonna, as the alternative, instead of going with another rapid fire battle cannon, I think I'm just gonna set this one up as the either the Canis Rex weapon, and I forget what that's called off the top of my head, but that harpoon shaped gun, and then um, do the thermal cannon as the other option. This way, I even if I don't want to run the Canis Rex, I can still run one with the rapid fire battle cannon and one with the thermal cannon, and that will give me more variety in the units that I can take. Um, and maybe even if I get a chance, maybe I can set it up so that I can cross over the chainsword from one arm to the other, and then I can have the I forget, the errant. No, not the errant. The errant's the one that's in here. The I don't know. You know which one it is. If not, look it up. Correct me. Please put it in the comments. That would be great. But you know what I'm talking about. The other night with that's just close combat. So I definitely want to have those options available. And like I said, that's the size of the Warglaive. So he's a chunky little guy. Trying to see if I have a model here for comparison. Oh yeah, hold on. So for comparison, we do have that is the ghost keel that my son painted, and the armiger is right around the same size. So, and again, you can't really, the angle is kind of weird. So even if I lay them down, they're essentially the same size. So there you have it. Um, so that'll be fun. I'm going to work on those. As far as a paint scheme, I'm actually considering going with my original idea. So I have my first one as Boba Fett. I'm considering doing the other one maybe in Jango Fett colors, uh, and that would be a fun little um, combination to put on the table. Because I mean, at 445 points, I think they are. I actually closed it. I closed my list up, but at 440, 450-ish points, um, you're only going to get two of them on, then a bunch of little guys, or maybe you'll get three of them on and a bunch of little guys, and that's kind of all your points at 2,000 points. But what I really wanted to do was, of course, the nice thing is this box set, as it sets out, the knight errant, which I'm gonna is the way I'm gonna set it up, the knight errant, and then the four little guys, it's like 985 points. So you could play them as part of a crusade game, um, which would be pretty interesting. I don't know how well knights would actually react in a crusade, but I really like the idea of giving it a shot, especially with like just the generic style rules. Because I mean, if you think about it, a armiger is just basically a squad equivalent of a squad, and I mean that would work out all right, right? Um, I think that would be kind of fun. The the whether you do the Crusader or the Knight Paladin or the Errant or whatever, I mean they're all right around the same price. So it does give you a big one and four little ones to run around with. Um, of course, you can always work in, if you wanted to work in some other units from another army. that would be a fantastic add-in on that too. And of course, I'm talking about just Imperial Knights at this point, but the Chaos Knights are right around the same point. So you're talking about, one Desolator, and then a bunch of the War Dogs, uh, and just mix up their little armor types. And 1,000 points, it's really not a bad idea. And to think, I mean, for somebody that's just getting into Warhammer, um, what's cooler than big giant mechs walking around the battlefield? Not a lot, no, unless of course you're not into big giant robots. But I mean, essentially, there's nothing really cooler than big giant robots stomping around, stomping on the armies of Warhammer. I think that would be a fun Crusade army, and you get your upgrades in Crusade like every 200 points. That's you know, the unfortunate part is you're not going to get two armigers for that, but you could get, an armiger, and then the next time you upgrade, you'll actually probably get three of them. I'd have to do the math to be sure, but um, so it'd be kind of cool. I think it would work really nice. I think it's a good, solid combination. I think it would be really difficult for some of the armies to deal with at 1,000 points, but I think it would be kind of fun. I mean, so the nice thing is once this is all built for me, the choice really is, what am I going to do with them? So I'm going to be right around 1,500 points with this. And of course, that all depends on how the codex comes out. If the codex comes out and doesn't change the points that much, I think it's going to work great. If they come out and the points are all different, we're going to have to rework it. But I mean, if I got all this done, I have 1,500 points of knights, and that's a nice setup for a little army. And I think that would be 1,500 points. I can play bunch of tournaments. Um, and the nice thing is, if I really wanted to, I could add my agents of the Imperium as allies. That would be a lot of fun to just get an Inquisitor on there. Um, Maybe I can just throw some Sisters of Battle on there as allies. I, I could do Space Marines if I wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of different options. Just Imperial Guard. Um, Maybe it would force me to buy 500 points of AdMech. Probably not. Not that I don't like the AdMech. They're just not the army for me. Um, there is an AdMech player in our group. I had to kick his butt into getting them painted, so we can see him on the battlefield. But all in all, I mean, I would never want to step on anybody's toes like that. But of course, when it comes to Warhammer, you could clearly collect everything that you want to collect and just be happy with it. So yeah, I think that's about it. If anybody did try to catch my episode last week, I screwed up. Um, I'm gonna blame it on the Ripper swarms tearing through Ball at the time. They must have interacted with the machine spirit in a very negative way, because all the it did come up under um, the podcast, and that's usually my go-to check. And for some reason, I think I didn't press save when I published the episode, or when I scheduled the episode. So it never came up on YouTube until this week. Thank you, Richard, for noticing that, and asking where my episode was. I really appreciate that somebody's looking out for me. um, but it did really help. So everything is up and running. If you missed the last episode, it is now there on YouTube. You can check it out. We did go over the Blood Angels and Tyranids. I sat with Logan, and we actually had a really good discussion about the two different armies that were involved with that. And we came up with very different Tyranid armies, and kind of different Blood Angel armies, but really different Tyranid armies. And that was a really fun discussion that we had. So if you want to check that out, we'll post that. You can check that out under the podcast. It was the last episode, so I forget what number it is, but it's there. So this one will be out on time. I promise. So you're getting it was a little bit of a lag in between, but you're actually making out on this one because it's only going to be less than a week till this one comes out on YouTube. So I know this one's a little bit shorter, but this is exactly what I wanted to cover. Next time, I do have a couple things in the works. I got a couple people that are going to be coming on and hanging out with me and really going over their armies. I also got one of our winners, Ken. He decided that when he won a chance to come on the podcast, he's not really a Warhammer player. He's just very supportive. He's a big Star Wars fan. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a intro to Warhammer, very basic, just so I can get him up to speed and kind of get him grasped into the Warhammer world. And he's a big collector, so maybe we can get him into Warhammer a little bit. No, I'm kidding. He's got enough Star Wars stuff. I don't think he needs any Warhammer stuff. But if like the lore, of course, just like Star Wars, the lore in Warhammer is just so immersed and intense and amazing. And I think um, if you're a Star Wars fan, a Star Trek fan, anything with this good solid lore, um, it's easy to get enveloped into Warhammer 40K or Age of Sigmar or both. Um, but yeah, that's about it for today. Again, every week on Thursdays we're on YouTube with Lake Clan Legends. We play D&D. I play D&D with my boys. We switch off campaigns, so one week you get to see me as Dungeon Master, the next week is Logan, and then my other son, he just plays because he really enjoys that, and two's enough. um, and then of course once a month, bounty hunting across the galaxy with Todd and Ken. Um, we talk about Star Wars stuff, Mandalorian stuff. If you're into Star Wars stuff, you gotta check it out. We had a really good time. Last episode, we had my friend Dan on. He's been with the Mercs just a little bit longer than we both of us have been. So it was really fun having him on, and we talked about different Star Wars stuff. And of course, there are I think there's new animations coming up on Warhammer Plus. If you haven't seen that, you should probably check those out. If you haven't seen any of the animation on Warhammer Plus, and you're considering the possibility of it, they have some really good stuff on there. Um, if you're buying the subscription to get the app and the free miniature, watch the Warhammer stuff Plus stuff. Some of it's really, really good. I actually like watching the little lore tidbits. That's one of my favorite things. But again, a lot of stuff going on. There's supposed to be some codexes dropping soon, which of course is why I'm holding back on doing Thousand Suns and doing Death Guard and doing some of these chaos cults, just because I have Thousand Suns. I have rotor lists like 8 different times, and it kind of fizzles out the same, but at 1,000 points. But my biggest thing is for my Thousand Suns army is I need more sorcerer miniatures. I can always make my own, but I think at some point down the line, I was really hopeful when we went to the mech shop that there was going to be some, but I know sorcerers are kind of a hot commodity. So I think and I think that's it. That's all I'm into. If you're from this area, if well, by the time this is out, it'll be over. I think I'm gonna try and get some videos up for Lehigh Valley Comic Cons on Saturday, which of course when this comes out on Tuesday, it will be last Saturday. Um, but maybe I'll get a live video up there and see if I got anything, especially if there's anything Warhammer related. I'm gonna try and pop a video out for that. So anyway, other than that, I'm gonna let everybody go. Just remember, us at Table Ready Podcast, we're here to make you and your models table ready, and we want to thank you for watching and have a great day.